All right, man, it's time to finally address the elephant in the room, or should I say the snake in the room. I know a lot of y'all be like, man, how does John actually feel when we be saying he snaked his way in the RDC world? And honestly, I think it's hilarious, bro. Like, I think it's funny that the community just all came together for the one time just to come and help me. You know what I'm saying? So, incredible. Thank y'all. But no, it's actually funny, man. The reason why it doesn't really bother me, because when I think about snaking, I don't think about it in a negative way. I think about it in as an opportunist, you know, somebody that takes advantage of their environment in a situation to, you know, get to a common goal. You feel me? And I think that's kind of what I did, right? You know, my flashback, you know, my life, I was unhappy. You know, I was doing the same thing every day. I seen some niggas who was doing some shit that inspired me, man. Inspired me. It made me feel like, man, I wish I had some friends that were as inspiring to do that with me. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, because I was just so much of a fan of the product and the projects and just the chase, you know, I went out of my way to go and try and contribute to that. And in return, it ended up blessing me in a way that, you know, changed my life, essentially. You know, while I'm working 9 to 5 back in 2017, I'm over here watching videos. I'm doing the research. I'm sending out emails to all these different events and conventions, man. And I'm saying, hey, y'all, like, I see y'all's talent roster, but, you know, it's not looking too diverse. You know, there's these dudes that I look up to doing some real dope shit, and I feel like if you gave them an opportunity to come here, man, like, I think they'd be a real great value to y'all's conventions, man. That's what I'm doing. I'm not even a manager. I'm not talent, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I was telling them. You know, I was telling them, hey, look, I manage this group, you know. I'm doing X, Y, Z, this, and this. I don't condone that, right? But I feel like that was the only way they were going to take it seriously. I feel like sometimes as a black man, we got to go above and beyond our peers just to be able to, like, get the attention that we deserve, honestly. Now, while this is happening, my sister, she's a publicist. She has a PR agency. You know, she has a lot of connections in Dallas. You know, I'm talking to her trying to think about, like, how can we get them on TV, you know? So that's how that all started, you know what I'm saying? I didn't actually have a plan or goal, but, you know, she said that she had the capability to do it, and so I reached out, man. That's it. So we're back on part 2 now. So fast forward. Well, actually, before I get to the next part, I just want to let y'all know, like, just how crazy this situation was, man. This is back, like I said, back in 2017. And I want y'all to even know how I even found out that RDC even lived in Texas, man. I was like I remember, I think I was watching one of their videos and I saw a cup in the background. Now niggas from Texas, you see a certain cup, you know that person probably in Texas, bro. So I saw one of these cups in one of the skits, man. It was sitting in the background. I was like, I know that ain't what I think it is. Is that Whataburger? You know what I'm saying? So, like, to me, I'm like, okay, Whataburger's only in Texas. So that's like when I tied the whole thing where I'm like, hold on, these guys live in Texas. This is crazy. I know all the Texas people who've seen the cups and be like, damn, this some Texas boys. That's exactly how I was, man. So then after I found out they was in Texas, I was like, hold on. Nah, this is crazy. Let me, you know, I did a little research. You know, I dug a little bit deeper into some of the videos, and I eventually discovered that Mark was a student at UNT, right? And so then I'm thinking about UNT, and I'm like, wait a minute, UNT is where my sister went. It was crazy, man. Like, my sister, the same sister that's helping me out, is the one who went there when she was in college, graduated, everything, and she had a lot of ties to the same spot. And another bit of John lore y'all didn't know was even earlier, right? Which is crazy, is that my sister, that same sister, when I was graduating high school, she took me to UNT and she had me meet a counselor, and she was pressing me to go to that school because she was like, hey, look, it's a great school. This is where I went. You should go here. It was crazy. So that actually means, you know, me and Mark are in the same class. So that means that, like, had I stopped playing around and went to UNT, we would have been at the same school at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I ended up not going. I ended up staying in Houston. I stayed at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I was like, I was so close to going to that school before I just ultimately just chose not to, went to a community college. So yeah, like, after seeing all these connections and all these ties, like, my sister was like, you know, she normally will brush me to the side, but this time she was like, you know, so I'm like, hey, look, I'm about to go up there. I'm gonna meet him. I'm gonna record some stuff, get the story, man. And, you know, we can see kind of, you know, what we can get from that. You know, the video is actually still on YouTube. It was trash. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I bought a camera from Best Buy, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this myself. Now, unfortunately, the stuff fell through, But I feel like that situation of me even going out there and trying and talking and meeting them, propelled me to want to try and help them further. And it also introduced us to become, associates. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that whole day where we spent, we learned a lot about each other. And, it basically just got me into the other opportunities. So this next part is how I started getting into the videos, how I started getting into the RDC clips. You feel me? Yeah, so after everything kind of fell through, man, I'm at home. I'm embarrassed. Like, I done did all these different things. I know Mark, he done told his family, hey, we about to be on the news. And like, yeah, it was really embarrassing for me. I ain't gonna lie. And so, and also all at the same time, I'm over here trying to create my own content, trying to figure out like what direction I want to go. I'm also like trying to overcompensate, figure out anything possible that I can do to try and still like really show the value with the group itself, even from the outside looking in, right? I'm literally going out of my way. Like, y'all don't understand like the things that I did. I went and bought that camera with my own money. I was getting the hotel space off the little money I had. I created a Facebook RDC community. This is a little lore, y'all don't know. It's still there right now. I created it. And I did not tell them. I was just getting clips from videos. I'm posting on there. I'm getting memes. I'm using all kinds of things that are relevant, using things to talk about whatever was going on in the anime world, and game world, right? And it's funny because I remember one day, right? Mark, I guess he found it in some way, and he messaged the page, and he's like, hey, like, what's up? And I'm like, oh, shit, like, damn, I'm in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I fucked, like, hey, my bad, bro, da, 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 da. I was like, hey, you can get the page back. He's like, no, like, no, you're doing a good job. Like, and I appreciate you supporting and showing love, like, keep going type shit. Like, y'all understand, like, he didn't even try to ask for the page. He didn't care to want it. He wasn't like, hey, why are you using? No, he was just like, hey, good job. Like, appreciate it. Keep going. So anyway, fast forward ahead. Enter Black Avengers 3, right? He's put, I guess they were trying to at some point do a Black Avengers. They were doing a whole casting call. I remember that. And I was like, hey, at this time, we had each other's contacts. I'm like, hey, look, like, if you guys need some extra help, some extra hands, I'm down to be there. I can be an extra, whatever you need, man. Like, I'm there. Because at this point, I already, like, he didn't already show me enough. I didn't need to see nothing more to be a part of the vision and want to believe. So, yeah, I'm there. We're filming Black Avengers. I'm there for like a week or two. And, yeah, we're just, I'm playing my part. I mean, I had nowhere to stay, so I was sleeping on the couch. And, yeah, that's the first RDC video y'all have seen me in Black Avengers 3. And then from there, you know what I'm saying? I think they were in the process of getting ready to move. And then during this whole time, the whole DreamCon conversation came up where Mark was like, hey, like, I'm tired of going to these other spots. Like, what if we started our own convention? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I feel like that's a great idea, right? And he's like, yeah, I bet. Like, you feel like you can figure that out? Now, I had no experience doing events, but I knew that this was something I wanted to be a part of and something that I wanted to do, man. And I think that, like, God was just setting up everything for me to make the decision. And yeah, that's just kind of how DreamCon became a thing. Now, because of the whole DreamCon situation where he's like, hey, look, I'm going to focus on the content, and then for me, I'm like, hey, look, I'm going to, spearhead DreamCon. Like, it just made sense that we were around each other because, as the founder and the visionary behind it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was important for me to be around to understand kind of what he wanted to continue to get it to be the best event possible, right? And so it just ended up leading me like, hey, look, he was like, hey, we're about to move to this spot, but shit, like, there's an extra room if you want to stay, right? So, hell yeah. So, yeah, so I was like October 2018. Now, granted, I'm in the house. I'm still technically not a part of RDC World, the group, right? I wasn't, I was just DreamCon. So that is why, like, DreamCon is more priority to me as far as like what I hold dear to, to doing. But like those first 2 months, I still was working at a leasing place. But eventually it just got to be too much and it was just a lot. And I think it was only like 2 months and then Mark was like, hey, look, like, like you can just start helping us out, man, And yeah, and that's pretty much how I joined the group, essentially. Now, what's even crazier, just to even let y'all know just how full circle everything was, man. So, like, even the process to starting the first DreamCon, right? Like, that same community that I went out of my way to just create just because was also the same community that I was able to take advantage and use to help spread the word to even get DreamCon to even have a chance. Because what I did was I created a GoFundMe. I basically told the story. I was like, hey, look, XYZ, here's the situation, here's what we're doing. Boom, put it in that community. Boy, that community was like, yeah, man, we support XYZ. They spread it around like wildfire. It was crazy. Like, I remember we were able to raise like I set the low goal. I was like, hey, look, let's do like 5,000. That'll at least give me enough money to get, to get a brand logo, website, all this, da 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 da, right? So, that actually played a big part. We were getting all kinds of online support. Some of our key core staff people actually saw that same thing on Facebook, reached out to, who are here today and are very crucial parts of the team. All stemmed from that one decision that was made just off a whim and just off of wanting to do the right thing, right? So, what I'm saying? Don't ever think that going out of your way to try to get close to your dream and do something is ever too crazy. People are going to try so much to try and like justify how they would do certain things. But, honestly, if I would have been listening to what everybody else was saying, I might not have been in the situation that I am right now, right? And so that's just something I want to leave it off with. Thank y'all for listening to this long story. Hopefully I'm going to talk about it again. Peace.